Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ACW Newscast. I am Hakeem Johnson, your ACW commentator as always. And first of all, before we even get into any topics or questions, you can probably tell that I have a new microphone. So those that watched the latest episode of Impulse got to listen to the new microphone device that I finally got that was long overdue for this channel. And so you can hear me more clearer. Um, yeah, so my parts of where I eat and drink now will be more evident than ever. But you know, finally got a new mic, so it's about time. Anyways, enough of that. This is episode number 67. Once again, I have not done it in a while. I haven't really got to do a newscast with you guys, so thank you guys for joining us. Thank you all of you to who sent in your questions and comments to me. This is gonna be a long episode because we got some topics that I want to go over. We're gonna go over your questions and comments. We're gonna go over certain animes that I've been able to catch up on since I've been having a busy schedule recently, and I haven't been able to watch any anime for a good 2 months. So I finally got to catch up on certain series that I'm looking out for, and also just gonna talk about some ACW and CAW related news. But I want to start off with something first, though. I want to start off with this week's Raw. I want to start off with Monday Night Raw from this past Monday. And as you all know, Night of Champions is the next special event, I guess they're calling it. That'll be on the WWE Network in regular pay-per-view, which will be coming up, I believe, next week. I believe it's next week or the week after that. I don't know. That's how much I really am not paying attention to this product. But um, as everyone obviously knows, it's going to be Seth Rollins, WWE World Heavyweight Champion and United States Champion. He's defending both titles, so he will be wrestling twice in this event. He will be defending the U.S. title against John Cena in a rematch from SummerSlam, and then he will defend the World WWE World Heavyweight title against the Icon Sting. Um, I wanted to address what if you have me on Facebook, um, if you have me on Facebook, then personally, then I think a lot of people know where I'm going to be coming from right now. I somewhat dwelled onto this thing this week about Seth Rollins and his current reign and how I'm not a fan of it. Um, as some people probably know, um, WWE Raw's ratings from that past Monday's episode slipped and barely got 3 million viewers. Do you remember back, even 10 years ago? I'm not even going towards the Attitude Era portion because I was 10 to 15 million viewers consistently every week, just about approximately. I'm talking about 10 years ago, say like 2005. Remember how we were complaining that WWE Raw would only get like what was it, 7 or 6 million viewers, which was half of what it was 10 years before that. Now Raw is struggling to get even 3 million viewers. That's terrible. Now people can point to this was Labor Day on Monday and the Ohio State Virginia Tech game, that all that stuff, but it's been a trend. It's been a trend for this year alone. Not to mention that it's been a trend for the past couple of years. The product is terrible. I mean, terrible. Or as Charles Barkley would say, terrible. I want to read to all of you what I posted on Facebook about the situation. And this ties in back to Seth Rollins. Quote, "Stop accepting mediocrity. Demand better." Unquote. It feels like I've been a broken record about this, but it needs to be stressed. Raw is a poorly structured, episodic show. The WWE has put out mediocre quality for the majority of recent years. Look at this week's ratings. Barely 3 million people watched the third hour. Yeah, Labor Day this and Ohio State game that, but this has been a trend with record low ratings this year. Seth Rollins as a champion for the most part has failed. Sure, he has had great matches and all, but he has become a champion when the character wasn't ready. Nobody in the casual spectrum gives enough of a fuck about him. Why do you think Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns outshine him on live reactions? Ambrose and Reigns were developed way more in the Shield than Rollins. People always saw Rollins as the third guy of the group. Yet we're to buy him as WWE World Heavyweight Champion the next year? No. And he has been the wrong kind of heel for it. He should have been a smart, cunning heel, not a typical chicken shit cowardly heel made to look like a bitch in the ring or on the mic. Rollins must drop the title to Sting at Night of Champions. It's gotten that bad. And that's pretty much where that came from. So, and I agree, and I still stand by my notion. I think, the moment with Rollins winning the title at WrestleMania 31 this year, it was a great moment. I even said it when I was watching it with my friends live. It was a moment. Rollins got made that night. There's no denying that. Rollins, I don't agree with people saying that once Rollins loses the world title, that he'll go back to, say, mid-card or upper. No, he's a main eventer. For the most part, he'll be a main eventer. He'll be, if not at least on a Cena or Orton level, he'll be somewhat of I don't know, Sheamus. A guy that can go dabble into the lower part of the main event, but can always be brought back up as a credible threat. So Rollins has a spot. He's made. He's Triple H's pet project. He's been given all these accolades, Money in the Bank, winning the World Heavyweight title, now double champion as U.S. champion as well. He's made. So I'm not going to buy the argument that he will drift away once he loses the titles. Nah. But at the same time, this reign has been bad, and a lot of people are going to try to they're going to try to convince themselves that it's not Rollins, WWE as a brand, which is true. The brand as a whole has no identity. It has short-term mainstream buzz, but it's not enough buzz to carry it to a quality product. So yeah, the WWE as a brand has a lot of blame for this as well. But the champion technically is the face of the company. Now people can say, "Oh, well, Cena's the face," which to some degree it's true. But the champion is your representation of your brand. And if your brand is a poor form, then the champion has to be looked upon in the same way as to how he's been treated or how he has handled the situation. And I'm sorry, Seth Rollins, now validating my thought more than ever. I was worried it was going to happen, and it was validated. I knew that they would not have a long-term plan for Seth Rollins. They only did this moment at WrestleMania with Rollins winning the title to avoid the shitstorm of Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, because you couldn't have Brock win the title and retain it. You couldn't have him retain it and then go away until he comes back to SummerSlam. They needed the World Heavyweight title to be off of him, but at the same time, you couldn't give it to Roman Reigns because of the fear that there would have been a shitstorm and that people would boo a guy you're trying to get over as the new face of the company. And don't mistake it, folks. Roman Reigns is still going to be the next top guy that they look at to carry the company. You do realize that, right? You're just delaying the inevitable. The whole company right now is just delaying the inevitable. They're gonna find a way to get Roman Reigns back into the spot that he was being pushed for. You're only delaying the inevitable, so just keep that in mind. But they had to do that moment with Rollins. But the problem is that you didn't have any follow-up. You didn't have any way to structure his character and story. It feels like Rollins is a guy who puts on outstanding great matches. He's had a couple of matches of the year for the WWE this year, no doubt about it. He's a guy that puts on great matches, but he's never given a story. He's never given some kind of accolade, to really cement him as the guy. And you can tell by the ratings. And you can tell by the live reaction. I mean, yes, us here, a certain portion of the wrestling audience, we know about Rollins, we know about his history, we know about his hard work and all that stuff. But we're a loud, but a small minority. Unfortunately, the majority of the WWE audience are casuals. And I'm sorry, the casuals don't give a shit about Seth Rollins. You can hear it. Now, when people say that, why do I think Ambrose and Reigns get bigger reaction than Rollins? They'll say, well, their faces, duh. Which, I understand where you're coming from, but read between the lines what I meant, though. Read the lines between what I meant, though. Roman Reigns was established as the powerhouse, and then when he broke away from the Shield, you got into more of his Samoan heritage when he was feuding with Brock Lesnar. You got into what his meanings are, his WWE Network special got into a lot of that. Dean Ambrose is a lunatic fringe who has a lot of problems. He's broken. He has a broken history, a broken past, and he just loses his composure even when he tries to keep it all in. What I'm saying is Ambrose and Reigns, in my opinion, were more developed in the Shield than Rollins was. Everyone looked at Dean Ambrose as either the leader or the mouthpiece. Everybody looked at Reigns as the power, the physique guy, the powerhouse, a future top star. Rollins was the third wheel, and I don't think no one can really. I mean, you'll have your small Rollins fans to deny it, but for the majority, Rollins was the third guy of the Shield. I don't see how we can really argue this. Let's not have any revisionist history here. So, I am completely behind the fact for Sting to win the WWE World Heavyweight title. Now, granted, this will get people to say another part-timer winning the world title again. Yeah, but it's fucking Sting. Sting has never been in the WWE. He has had a tremendous legacy, and 1/16 of that has been with the WWE. Yet he's one of the greatest icons in this business. For all that he's done for this business, yeah, he deserves a title. At least for even if it's a transitional run. You're telling me Sting doesn't deserve to be the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, but yet a Dolph Ziggler or I mean I don't know or a Neville deserves to be a champion in the near future, but Sting can't get one title reign in his career for all he's done for the business. Get the hell out of here. And what is it really gonna do ultimately? What is it gonna really hurt? I mean, at least if Sting does become champion and beating Seth Rollins, I can guarantee you that there'll be more interest. Short term, long term, it doesn't really matter. At least people will go there to see Sting. Sting can draw when booked and written properly, but Sting can draw people back into the product, like he's clearly done along with the Dudleys. Rollins can't do that. We can hate Cena all we want, but there's no denying the fact that he does draw certain people to the show, and more so when he's champion. You know, Orton isn't necessarily a good draw. He's never been really a household name, but even him compared to Rollins can still draw a couple of people to see him on TV. Rollins hasn't gotten to that point. Rollins hasn't developed enough where people can say, man, I want to go to that show because Seth Rollins is going to be on this show. The majority hasn't caught up to that yet. And to force that in for some way, somehow, is ludicrous. They gave him the title when he wasn't ready. That's clear as day. He wasn't ready for the title. It's pretty obvious that Seth Rollins was not ready to be WWE World Heavyweight Champion. It was just a knee-jerk reaction from the company to create some sort of buzz and find it out with that Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns match at WrestleMania. That's clearly all it was, and nothing more. And now you see that. So the next time when you want to say this guy should be champion or that guy should be champion, look at this title reign with Seth Rollins and tell me if that is the wise decision. It might make us happy. It might give a certain section of our wrestling audience a way to come in and watch the show, but we are a loud minority for a reason. The casual audience is not responding to Seth Rollins as champion. That's a fact. If you felt that you were confident that you developed Seth Rollins, if you thought he was ready, if you thought he was ready to take on this type of pressure, then why are the ratings not saying otherwise? So, I like Rollins. I think Rollins has improved on the mic. I think Rollins is a great athlete. He's a great wrestler. But sometimes you don't need to be world champion in order to get over. Ask Jake the Snake Roberts. He never was the WWE or WWF world champion. And Jake Roberts has created a career and legacy that a lot of people still kind of imitate from. Not imitate, but emulate. There you go. You know? Roddy Piper, God bless his soul. He never won the WWF Championship, although there was an argument that he could have, he should have. He probably didn't need it. And I don't think he did. He was still Piper. Piper was a character that didn't necessarily need a title. Not every wrestler can be a world champion. Just because your favorite can do certain things here and there doesn't mean they need the title. Keep that in mind. So that was my opinion on Seth Rollins. But I will say this. The whole Sting Seth Rollins thing going on throughout that whole show, I didn't mind it like a lot of people probably did. Sting was being his funny self. Those that saw him in TNA will know that Sting was pretty much being who he was there. It was good. Sting being there was funny, especially the ending. But we want to talk about funny. Now, this is kind of the main reason why I want to talk about Raw in a certain way because I was thinking about what could I remember, what did I ultimately remember from this week's Monday Night Raw besides Sting and Rollins, and the other answer was the New Day. Now, if you know me at this point, you know that I hate this gimmick, and I don't like using the word hate, but I I extremely detest this gimmick that the New Day have. Big E, Xavier Woods, and Kofi Kingston. And I'm not trying to be one of these social justice warriors that get easily offended over everything in this damn world, but it just bothers me that you have three talented athletes who happen to be black, and you're giving them a gimmick where they're made to be preachy and just loud, especially Big E's preacher voice at times. It's like, come on, man. Not every black athlete in wrestling has to shuck and jive, or dance, or be gangsters, or be pimps, or be saying they smoke the weed and 420 this and 420 that. They don't have to be portrayed as that. Why can't they just be themselves? And I'm not trying to tell you to force them to be a quote or something, but they can be themselves, man. Like there's no excuse. If you're a black wrestler in wrestling today, except for money and travel and maybe some publicity, why would you really go there? If you know the way you're going to be treated isn't what you want to be portrayed as. I mean, Xavier Woods just got his PhD. All three of them graduated from college. And that's the best type of gimmick you can give these three talented athletes? So I don't like the New Day gimmick. It's an insult. It's very thinly veiled with some racial connotations. Sorry, it is. And knowing this company's history, I'm not even surprised, and neither should you at this point. But, having all said that, I gotta be completely honest. If I'm going to be real as hell, I've gotta be honest. Those three were funny as shit this past Monday. Those three were awesome this Monday, man. I have to be honest with you. Xavier Woods with the trombone playing the Final Fantasy theme was gold. The trombone bazooka contest with Edge and Christian backstage, gold. Big E's pelvic thrust during the main event 6-man tag match, epic gold. The New Day are funny, man. I gotta be honest, man. They're all three. They are three genuinely funny guys, and not funny in the sense that they gotta be half-assing it or overdo it to the point where it isn't funny anymore. They're just genuinely naturally funny. Like I can go over there and catch them at a bar or something like that, and I can see them kicking it, and they would be just fun to be around with. That's the vibe I get with those three. That I can just kick it with them, and it would just be a fun time, and we can just talk about anything and everything. That's the kind of thing I pick up on. So, Xavier Woods has been a great addition. He's one of those guys that he does so much that it becomes funny. And it's like he's been an addition to where he's kind of an instigator, but he's instigating in a way that makes it just come out genuinely funny, if you get what I'm saying. Kofi Kingston, this has been the most entertaining Kofi has ever been in his entire WWE career. I don't think anyone can really deny that at this point. Kofi has become largely entertaining ever since this gimmick started. You know, you know. I've always said to never turn your pure baby face's heel. You know, I said that with Rey Mysterio, and he never did in WWE. I said that about AJ Styles. Of course, TNA would turn him heel because they're stupid. So I wasn't too sure if I would want Kofi as a heel, especially the way WWE wanted him to be a heel. Unless they were going to give Kofi the heel gimmick that he had before he was in WWE, which the New Day should have been that whole time. But that ship has sailed. So, but Kofi has made it work. Kofi has made it work as this corny, cheesy, over the top, cheerful guy doing his skipping and clapping down the ramp. It's great stuff, man. It's just great stuff to behold. So Kofi has been very entertaining. But let's be completely honest here. Let's cut the bullshit here. I'm gonna tell you this right now. The reason why the New Day really works to me is Big E. Big E is a natural born performer. This guy is highly entertaining. Now, a lot of us knew this already if you went back to his career, even before WWE when he was in NXT. The guy is legit funny. He's really great to see when you see him on media presses or social media on Twitter or Instagram or whatever. This guy is really funny. So it was finally about time to see him, and he has made this gimmick his own. Granted, and now again, like I said, the preacher thing is like, ugh, really? But Big E is turning everything that is given to him and making it entertaining. And that's kind of what Big E, kind of like a Cesaro, has been able to do. They're given shit, but they turn it around and make it work to where the crowd responds. And that's what Big E does. The crowd loves Big E. His little dances during the matches, they're brilliant! That's some goofy shit that I would probably do. So, in a way, Big E, I can relate to Big E and what he does. So he's funny, man. Like, and you can see now the live crowd now are starting to get behind New Day. Now, it was all New Day sucks, but now it's starting to become New Day rocks. And they're getting over huge. Did you hear the reaction they got during Monday Night Raw? Beautiful. So I might not like the gimmick, but I like the fact for simply that they're finally getting over, and this may be putting them in a high profile. Even if it's got to be this way, at least they can be given a higher profile where people can finally recognize them for what they truly are, and that's great performers and athletes. So I won't say that I'm a New Day fan. I'm not there yet, but I'm not saying that it's a possibility that it can't happen. It could possibly happen. If the New Day keeps on being entertaining for 6 more months, you may see me clapping with them and chanting "New Day rocks, New Day rocks." What a 180 that would be for some of you people. But yeah, New Day. They were probably the most entertaining portion of Monday Night Raw. So Monday Night Raw was whatever, but I found certain sections of Monday Night Raw to be either good or entertaining. So we head to Night of Champions, and hopefully the WWE can put on a good show. I'm hoping, anyways. So there you go with that. Now I want to talk about some ACW related stuff. As you all know, at least on the Excel side, High Voltage is on September 25th. So I believe it will be in 2 weeks. Yeah, there you go. It'll be High Voltage in 2 weeks. It'll be the final Excel Mega event for the year. As a matter of fact, it'll be the final single branded Mega event period, because after High Voltage, all the focus will go into the road to Animania 4, which we've already officially begun. At least for the Impulse side, it has officially begun. For the Impulse brand, we're heading to the dual branded Mega event, the Royal Rumble. Yes, ACW Royal Rumble. Now, I said this a little bit on Impulse and Excel lately, but I love the Royal Rumble every year. Every time we do it, I swear to God, I wish I still had the Royal Rumble events from 2007 and 2008, because man, those are fun to do, and they're always fun to do the Royal Rumble Mega events. I just have a fun time putting it together. I have a fun time watching what happened. So it's really a sight to see. It's really fun. So yeah, that's gonna be happening, and some of you already saw the latest episode of Impulse. The Impulse Rumble match has been updated. I think Sagat, Dark Magician, Kankuro, Solid Snake have been all added now to that match. I believe there's 3 more spots open left, and then we've got the 3 mystery opponents on the Impulse brand that will make their appearance at the Rumble, so they'll be surprise appearances. And likewise for the Excel Rumble. As a matter of fact, the Excel Rumble match will be updated next week. So even though we're on the road to High Voltage in 2 weeks, the Excel Rumble match will start getting updated by next week to get you all prepared for the Royal Rumble. And obviously now we are on the road to Animania 4, scheduled to be December 18th in Miami, Florida at the Sun Life Stadium. Um, the event is sold out, obviously. I guess. Yeah, you guys are gonna want to enjoy that Animania 4. You're gonna want to enjoy that, and I got a lot of good plans for Animania week. That entire week, gonna be doing a lot of new things. And I will say this too: if I can get a new laptop, if I can get like a new laptop or my old one right now, if I can get it somehow fixed to the point of I wanted to do certain things, then I might have a special treat for all of you for Animania 4 week. I won't spoil it and I won't go into it any further. But if I can get my laptop either fixed or replaced and it can do what I need it to do, you guys will be in for a treat during Animania 4 week. That's all I'll say. So, also, um, whether you've heard this recording now or when it will be announced afterwards, DCA Sacred Ambitions. I just did commentary for DCA Sacred Ambitions, I believe, last night with my colleagues Josh and Carter. By the way, make sure you guys give Josh McLeod, Josh Edwards, give him a thank you, give him a shout out on Twitter and on Facebook. He currently had a unfortunate stroke a couple of weeks ago. He's been recovering. He's about to go back to training in a few days, and I talked to him. He's doing very well. He's a good friend. We always have fun with each other. We always joke around. We always love each other. So just give Josh your thanks and your well wishes towards him as he almost is 100% recovered, and he's a good guy, man. He's a really good guy. Um, so I had fun with Josh last night along with Carter. We just did DCA Sacred Ambitions. So the DCA Wildcats are taking over and taking center stage. I need all of you to watch DCA Sacred Ambitions. It'll possibly be on Sunday. If my memory serves me correct, I believe the mega event will be posted tomorrow or today if this newscast is posted on Sunday. However you watch it, it'll be posted on Sunday. There you go. So make sure you guys go to hitbox.tv's DCA's Hitbox TV channel and go click that and make sure you watch Sacred Ambitions. You are going to be stunned. You are going to be shocked. You are going to be surprised. I had a lot of fun. It was an explosive night full of a lot of surprises and shockers, and that's all I'm gonna say. So go ahead and watch DCA Sacred Ambitions this upcoming Sunday. Also, Call All Star 7. That is almost close to being done and developed by Mr. Sean Walsh. Make sure you guys go check out the Sean Walsh Show on YouTube, by the way. Some great interviews with some great people. Um, he's putting together Call All Star 7 with others, and ACW is participating with Call All Stars for the first time this year, and we got a lot of um, spots, I guess, if you will, for Call Star 7. Joe Agashi will be a part of the Fantasy Call versus Original Call 6-man tag match. So that'll be awesome to see. And also at Call Star All Star 7, stemming from the NJCW ACW Super Show that we had, I believe, a month or two back. By the way, if you have not seen that Super Show, go see that Super Show. I had a lot of fun doing it with Adam and the boys, and probably maybe expect some more business with NJCW in the near future. But I'll just leave it at that. Stemming from that Super Show, it will be NJCW champion Kevin Owens going one-on-one against ACW XL champion Akuma in a last man standing match that ACW chose after we beat Team NJCW at the Super Show. Um, That'll be happening at Call All Star 7, so make sure you guys go watch that event when it's posted, and I will be making sure to post the links when that show is ready. So go check that out. I believe that's all the CAW and ACW news I have, unless something pops up. But you know, I'm thinking during while I'm recording here. But I'm always sporadic with newscasts. You guys should know that by now. Now I want to talk about certain animes that I've been able to catch up and I'm starting to watch now. So first of all, I want to talk about Food Wars. Food Wars is probably my favorite anime going right now. It's a great show. It's got some fan service. It is what it is. But also it's got a very relatable and fun main character. Um, and Yakahara, I believe that's his last name. And then a lot of great additional cast members as well. Um, Erina, the golden tongue, if you will. Again, you gotta watch the anime to know what I'm kind of really talking about. You got Megumi, um, Soma's friend and assistant, who has her own special charm in a way. A lot of great characters, a great plot, and honestly, there's a lot of twists and turns that you wouldn't really expect. So it's probably my favorite anime right now. I finally catched up to it. I believe I'm on episode 22, and I know they just dropped a new episode. I have not seen the new episode this weekend, so I'm probably gonna watch that after this newscast. But yeah, that's a show that I'm watching. Excuse me. I also caught up on the Legend of Arslan, and if Food Wars is not my favorite anime, this is probably my favorite anime. Um, the Legend of Arslan is it's a great anime. A lot of action, a lot of suspense, a lot of drama, a lot of character development as well. Like you have to watch the first episode to really understand what's going on. Because if you might be there to watch this for the action, but you won't know what's going on unless you watch the first episode back. So Prince Arslan, and I won't spoil anything, but Prince Arslan is the supposed to be the next heir to the throne, but a lot of drama within the kingdom is preventing that from happening, and I'll leave it at that. You're gonna have to watch the anime to see what I'm talking about. He's with his protector, his assistant Darien, who's probably one of the most beast characters going in anime today. I don't know why people are not talking about Darien in the anime circles as much as they should. That dude is a beast. Again, you have to watch the anime to know where I'm coming from. Darien does not play no fucking games. You fuck with Arlen, he will fuck you up. And that's all I'm gonna leave it at with. So you guys need to go check that anime out. It's a really good anime. I think Food Wars in that anime is probably tied right now as my favorite anime. And I know that's probably one of the newscast questions I got, so there's your answer. Um, but other animes, I'm watching Gangsta. I think that's a new series that came out this summer, and I gotta be honest, I'm impressed with it. People have made their complaints about the animation. I can see sometimes the animation's a little bit iffy, but I like the anime. Again, it's another kind of series I can relate to. It's got that whole mafioso kind of feel to it. Um, so I'm watching that as well. So um, now I still got to catch up with Dragon Ball Super. I'm still probably on episode 4 from Super, but so I got to catch up with that just for the nostalgia purposes. Although I can see why certain people are complaining that Dragon Ball Super is starting to decline in quality already. I can see it. So it's not GT bad at least right now, but I've seen things, but still got to finish up on Seth Roth of the End. Got to finish that one off because I'm invested. I've been invested in that series. Basically, that anime is just Attack on Titans, but replace Titans with vampires. That's really all. That's really all. Seth Roth of the End is. But I love the show though. I did catch up to let me see if I can say this right. It's Kekken Sensen or Block Battle Bloodfront or something like that. I know I probably screwed it up, but yeah, I finally catch up to that as well. I don't know if they're gonna get a new series or a new season or not. I wouldn't mind for it to get a new season, but there you go. And I did watch the OVAs of Nanatsu no Taizai. The first episode kind of went into more detail about Bond's relationship with Elaine. Elaine being King's sister, went to that relationship. So I'm glad that they kind of dwelled into that more so. And then the second episode, it was just like short stories with the crew. That's all it was, short stories. Um, yeah, and people are saying that they might get a second season, but I don't know. I mean, the ending could suggest that they can get a second season, but if it were just to end, it ended kind of perfectly anyways. So I don't know. I would like to see a second season because I did like that show, but I can understand if it isn't and if it was in the right place. So, um, Also, there have been news, and I think they've been debunked because I do follow the Tokyo Ghoul fan page, which updates the news. There have been rumors that there's going to be a season three, but there have been debunked from as far as I can tell. I think I think the budget is a bit high. I believe. This is what they said. I think the budget is high for them to produce a third season, and that the manga hasn't produced enough chapters for a third season to be justified yet. So those that are hearing that there's going to be a third season of Tokyo Ghoul, I think that's when they go with the RE or Jack. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't really read manga like that, like I used to. I really don't read manga anymore. I just kind of, the last one I read was Naruto Gaiden, but I don't really follow manga like I used to. But yeah, there hasn't been enough produced chapters for there to be a third season. Is basically what the gist of it was. So any Tokyo Ghoul fans out there that heard that there's gonna be a third season, they've been debunked. There hasn't been no word of a third season or anybody producing one. The only thing I heard about it, and this might have been debunked as well, the only thing I heard about it was that they were going to create some OVAs for Tokyo Ghoul, which probably will go before Kaneki was a ghoul himself. So that's probably where they're going with that. It's going to be a prequel, if anything else. So there you go. I got to do my little anime spiel there. I mean, come on. I'm Hakeem. It's Anime Championship Wrestling, so gotta keep up on. I gotta keep up on my anime. So, but I enjoy anime. I'm not a weeaboo or anything. Which I've always laughed about that when people called me a weeaboo. I laugh because I can't fucking stand weeaboos myself. I think they're fucking toxic as shit. Like, if you want, I'm not even really gonna talk. I'm just a general anime fan. I'm just a guy that appreciates, respects, and likes anime, and happens to watch anime shows. You don't see me saying that I'm gonna go to Japan because I saw an anime. I want to go to Japan and fucking you know buy all this shit when people know that Japan has a lot of poverty on the other countryside. You're looking at the mainland, the city. So I'm not that stupid, but I do appreciate anime. I've always appreciated anime. And again, I think this is another newscast question, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. My favorite anime of all time is either Dragon Ball, and yes, folks, Dragon Ball is a better anime than Dragon Ball Z. Period. And I might have to get into this one day on a newscast about why I think that. But yes, Dragon Ball is a better show than Dragon Ball Z. Period. But I'll leave it at that. It's either Dragon Ball as my favorite anime, or, and this one might actually surprise you, or The Prince of Tennis. Yeah, The Prince of Tennis. Yeah, the anime about tennis. Yeah, the one Ryoma Echizen is on. For those that ask me why did I always bring Ryoma Echizen, it's because I'm a huge fan of Ryoma. I was like, I have to bring in Ryoma at some point because I love this anime. Now, at first, I was worried when I saw the English dub version of Prince of Tennis that aired on Toonami for a while, because I was like, man, this show sucks, and it did because the dub voices did not fit the characters. It was just all fungled up. But when I finally saw the Japanese, dub of it, I mean, the English sub actually, I was like, yo, this anime is beautiful. It's not even about the tennis portion of it. It's just about the characters themselves and how they've developed and their end game and their goals and their missions. It's a beautiful anime. I really, if you have not watched The Prince of Tennis, go ahead and do so. It's one of those animes that you wouldn't expect to be good, but when you finally dwell and dig right into it, it's a fucking beautiful anime. It's beautiful. And I even say that Ryoma Echizen is probably one of my favorite protagonists of all time in anime. Yeah, didn't expect that, did you? But yeah, it's either Dragon Ball or Prince of Tennis for me. So that's kind of how anime started coming into me with that. Prince of Tennis was obviously later when I discovered it after the Toonami dub, but Dragon Ball is probably going to still be my number one though. Although Prince of Tennis is a close second. So there you go. Look at me all answering these newscast questions. Well, we're now on the questions and answers part of the newscast, so let me pull that up then. Let me just pull that up right now. I'm answering all these questions while you guys are asking all them questions, asking all them questions. That was one of my favorite memes for a while before people started ruining it, but No surprise. So that's what always happens with memes. Like it's funny for a while, and then people just put their own spin to it and ruin it. I never get that. Well, let's get to the Q&A portion of the newscast. I'm already 40 minutes in, so maybe this may be under a hour, but I doubt it. You know me. Um, all right, let's get to this. Kavaja Humphrey asked, um, "Who's your pick for the Impulse Royal Rumble match?" Well, I mean, if we're gonna shoot here, I know who's winning, but I'll play along. If I gotta figure out who's gonna win it, if looking at the updated section of the Impulse Rumble match, if I gotta give you a guess as to who's winning it all, I kind of have to say Sagat. I gotta say Sagat. Sagat. It seems like it's gonna be Sagat's year in a way because Sagat defeated Naruto at Apocalypse. He was a part of the six-man um, match at Fusion. He just teamed with Naruto at No Boundaries, and they were victorious. Um, Sagat had a phenomenal main event match last week on Impulse with Naruto, even though he lost. Sagat, there's a lot of momentum right now for Sagat, so keep an eye out for Sagat in the Impulse Rumble match. So, if there was one person I had to pick, it probably would be Sagat. Adrian Gonzalez says, "How do you feel about Sting and the Deadly Boys back in WWE?" I like it. Now, granted, it's a nostalgia trip, which this is clearly what it is. But more so with the Dudleys than Sting, because at least with Sting, he's never been a part of the WWE, so his is more intriguing in a way that there's history behind why he's there. So, with the Dudley Boys, I'm glad that they're back though, because I didn't after that horrible story with the Aces and Eights in TNA, that being the Dudley Boys' last kind of image in wrestling recently, it's good to see that the Dudley Boys are still back and haven't lost the beat. And the WWE Tag Team division need a team like the Dudleys. They need a team that are established, arguably one of the greatest tag teams of all time, that can put over some of the new talents like the New Day, the Primetime Players, the Lucha Dragons, the Ascension, I guess. Put all these new tag teams over, but they wouldn't lose overness to the point where they're still the Dudley Boys. They can still get a reaction. You can clearly see that so far with their return. So, I mean, for both Sting and the Dudley Boys being back in the WWE, I have no problem with it. I think it's good for the product right now because the product right now needs anything right now. The product sucks. Overall, it sucks right now. So you need talent that are going to be there to make it somewhat interesting for certain people to come back. So, all right, Gary Connell Jr. has a couple of questions. Question number one: what are your thoughts on Kanye West supposedly running for president in 2020? My thoughts. God. Woo! Oh man, that was a good one. Kanye West, huh? 2020 presidential run. All right, let me just address this because I haven't even talked about it, and there's a reason why he's not gonna run for president. He may be an egomaniac. Now, granted, Kanye West, in musical terms, is a genius. Now, granted, Yeezus wasn't an album that I particularly liked, but Kanye as a musical, producer is one of the probably the best producers of all time, and I'm gonna say that. I won't put him above Dr. Dre. I won't put him above Jay Dilla. I won't do that, but he's one of the greatest producers of his time. But outside of music, he, I laugh because people when he speaks, people think that he's saying something profound. He's saying something new. Like he's saying something that we've never heard before. It's all pseudo intellectual bullshit. It's what Kanye does. I've listened to that interview on the Breakfast Club when he was there with Charlemagne and Angela and Envy, that one video, and it's like Charlemagne brought up a good point. How can you talk about being against corporation when you yourself not only are trying to create your own brand as a corporation, but you're signed with a corporation? That makes no sense. Either you're informed, naive, or a hypocrite, or maybe all the above. So Kanye wouldn't know how to. He wouldn't be able to address the issues the way that people would expect him to. It was just all a publicity stunt. That's all it was. The people that actually fall for that are the same people that would fall for any storyline in wrestling. No surprise, wrestling marks fell for this whole. Wrestling fans fell for that whole Kanye West storyline because that's all it was. Kanye was just saying it to get a buzz, to get people to get hyped for his new album or something. He's not gonna do it. It was all a publicity stunt to get you guys to talk about him. That's all it was. Question number 2: When do you think the WWE will finally get their shit together and push their superstars the right way? When Vince is dead or leaves the company. Sorry, and even then, I don't even think. Even then, Triple H in a way is kind of unproven too, because even though he's going to be helping the talent portion of it, Stephanie's going to be given the business aspect of the WWE. So in a way, everything will say and go with Stephanie at the helm. And if Triple H does something Stephanie is not particularly a favor of, it can be vetoed. So with Vince currently still controlling everything, nothing's changing. Otherwise, it would have a long time ago. Otherwise, CM Punk wouldn't have left. Otherwise, Daniel Bryan would have been pushed more earlier than he should have. Oh, that was kind of different. Um, Otherwise, Cesaro would have been in a higher position he's in because Cesaro hasn't given shit since he's ever debuted in the main roster and still hasn't been rewarded rightly for it. That's why they wouldn't have undercutted the likes of Kevin Owens and Bray Wyatt, Dean Ambrose, and now even in a way Roman Reigns too. They have no idea what they're doing. They're just doing write-ups for a show, maybe a day before the show even airs, maybe even hours before the show airs. They're just writing up shows so they can get their check from the USA Network and Universal, be able to do enough to keep afloat their business above the line, and that's it. The WWE has become a advertisement. That's all it is. It's just advertisement with some wrestling in there. That's all the WWE is now. Because you hear it every day. You hear it every week now. You hear about the merchandise. You hear about the WWE Network. You hear about the sponsors. You hear about the movies, WWE Studios. You hear about reality TV shows like Tough Enough and Total Divas. It's an advertisement brand with some wrestling sprinkled in to give you the illusion that it's a wrestling show still. That's all the WWE is. That's all the WWE is now. That's how they make their money, not by wrestling, but by merchandise, by advertisement. And people need to wake up and understand that. Until Vince leaves that helm, and honestly, until Kevin Dunn leaves as well, and until Michael Hayes leaves as well, the main perpetrators about this whole ordeal, nothing's changing. Don't get your hopes up. Um, he also asked, "How hyped are you for Street Fighters 5?" I'm a little bit hyped. I saw the new attires for Ryu and Chun Li and Cammy and Bison and Ken. Apparently, they got a new character there as well with a scouter. So I'm looking forward to it. I might actually buy it opening day, but we'll see. I'm not gonna make any promises, but maybe when I take my off season off from ACW in December, I'll be playing that a lot. So, and last question: When will you think mainstream music will get it together by airing all genres more than the old way, as in making a mediocre musician famous? Um, it's kind of like that question that you asked for wrestling, but here's the thing. I think musicians today, though, are now realizing they don't need a record label anymore. Hear me out. You've now got music features like Spotify and SoundCloud. Um, you got those type of services, right? Where an independent artist can put out their song through there, and there'll be people that will check it out and look at it, and they will have enough publicity, enough appeal to where they can start making their own merchandise and start doing their own tours. Because that's where the money is now. It's not really with the deals. It's not really with the album sales or the song sales or the TV appearances. The money's being made now through merchandise and touring. I may not like him, but ask Malcolmore. That's how Macklemore got his thing did. Now, granted, his music was distributed by Warner Brothers, but we're talking about him majorly being an independent artist that got on by putting on certain songs on the internet, and people started liking them, and he started touring independently around the country, and that's how he became who he was. You know, you look at Hobson from Funk Volume. Hobson didn't really need a record label, and I think he was a part of Interscope until he left. But he independently started doing his own touring to the point where he was able to make his own imprint label, Funk Volume, and bring in the likes of Jared Benton and Dizzy Wright. And Funk Volume are probably one of the most hottest acts in the youngest and hottest acts in hip hop today. So you know, and even then, you can still be a mainstream artist and still try to keep your music integrity. Obviously, I'll go to Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar um, was a part of Top Dog and still is a part of Top Dog Entertainment. I started following him around '09, '10, like late 2009, early 2010. That's kind of where I started following him. Although it was Ab-Soul that brought me into TDE first, and then I started listening to Kendrick. A lot of people would say the exact opposite. It was Kendrick brought them, and then they got them out. Ab-Soul. Ab-Soul's still my favorite from TDE, but that's another discussion. But Kendrick was able to build an audience to the point, and he did it the natural, old school way, though. He did it in a way where TDE was able to sign a joint deal with Interscope. So now Kendrick has a joint deal with Interscope and TDE. But even though Kendrick now is more mainstream than ever, he still keeps a musical integrity. He hasn't been silenced yet. He hasn't, quote unquote, sold out. He hasn't gone corporate yet. Now, he is treading water a little bit with certain things he's doing, but for the majority, he's still Kendrick Lamar from 2009 to me. So, there's a way to do it. But the record labels are trying to find ways to stifle, the likes of SoundCloud from putting out songs like that because they know that those type of services are going to undercut them. The music labels understand and they know that they're going to be irrelevant in about a decade or two. Music labels are starting to die on the wayside. The Universals and the Def Jams, well, they're the same thing, but the Universals, the Warner Brothers, the Atlantic Records, the Sony publisher, they're all dying off because people are starting to realize that artists are realizing that you don't need a record label to necessarily get what you're looking for, and the people are starting to realize that they don't need record labels to tell them what they want in a musician. So it's gonna take a while. There's still a chance to be able to do that. Kyle Franks says a couple of questions. What if WWE decides to put the WWE title on Sheamus? I get why they did it with Sheamus because Sheamus is going to be a part of that new Ninja Turtles movie as Rocksteady, and so they're going to give him the title when that happens. It'll be a transitional one; it won't go that long, and he'll drop the title afterwards. But I gotta be honest, I have never met a more uninteresting and anticlimactic Money in the Bank holder like Sheamus. I think the last time it was Jack Swagger, but I think this tops that. Sheamus as Money in the Bank holder is so, who gives a shit? It's like Roman Reigns should have won that briefcase because it gives more of him an opportunity to use that because with Rollins as champion, Reigns can cash it in either face or heel, and he has history with Rollins, he has history with Cena in a way, he has history with the Authority. So him being the Money in the Bank would have made more sense than Sheamus holding it. What the fuck does that matter? You're not going to do anything with it a year later, so why would you even give him the briefcase? It makes no sense. Thoughts on Divas getting the main event match at NXT TakeOver? Yeah! Bayley versus Sasha Banks, 30-minute Iron Man match. Hell yeah. Sign me up for that. Sasha and Bayley is arguably one of the greatest women's matches in WWE history. I think so. And if somebody said it was the greatest women's match in WWE history, I wouldn't really argue with that, although I can kind of say that Trish and Lita had more of a history, but I wouldn't really argue it so much. But, yeah. Yeah, Bayley and Sasha main eventing. Hell yeah. That's a Divas Revolution. It's not just making matches longer and giving matches, Divas 2 matches, but there's no development, no story, no buzz. That's not a revolution. That's status quo. This is a revolution. You are confident enough to give Divas the main event section of your show. and you know that they'll deliver. That is a revolution. Um, Thoughts on Destination America canceling TNA? Yeah, there's been rumors. Now we're in September. We're starting to hear some things from the internal memo system. Now, there have been reports that Destination America does plan to drop TNA in September, but a new recent report came out saying that Destination America's internal schedule memo has TNA listed past September, I believe on October 7th, which would be the Impact after Bound for Glory. So, this could have meant that TNA has been able to re-sign. Hopefully, if they did resign, they would have told Destination America not to enter a out clause deal and in a non in an exclusive wrestling deal, so you don't have the likes of ROH being in the same damn channel. You think the WWE would allow ROH on the USA Network? Come on. So we're gonna have to hear more news about that certain situation, but there have been reports that TNA either maybe out, maybe leaving Destination America, or that they've re-signed but for lesser money. So we'll see. There'll be no more news coming out these next couple of days. Let's see. Also, do you think the Dudley's return was good or bad? I just pretty much said it was good. And last one, do you in fact like bacon? Oh, bacon is love. Bacon is life. Bacon is everything that makes this world great. And I'm not bullshitting. I love bacon. Like, now I'm not that dog on those commercials that's like, it's bacon! It's bacon! Oh man, that commercial used to be hilarious. But yeah, bacon is awesome. It's the holy grail of everything we live for. Um, Anyways, now you guys know my bacon fetish. Correct Weevil asked a couple of questions. What is the worst movie adaptation you've ever seen? Oh boy. The easy one right now could be Dragon Ball Evolution, but I'm trying to be a little out the box here. Um, Maybe Street Fighter. Street Fighter, the movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme as I think Guile. Yeah, wasn't a fan of the Street Fighter movie, but dude, Dragon Ball Evolution, dude. I just recently like I was at the bar after work because I usually go at the bar after work on a Monday, and after Raw was over, they had a showing on I think Sci-Fi of Dragon Ball Evolution. And I was just looking through it while I was drinking. I was like, yo, this movie sucks. Like I looked back and I saw the scene with Goku, quote unquote Goku, fighting those bullies, and it's like, is this Dragon Ball or is this an episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? Can someone tell me the part on Dragon Ball where Goku had bullies and Goku felt intimidated enough that he almost had to leave the party? Are you serious? Who the hell? Like, how the hell do you have any integrity to pull that kind of BS with a movie with a series so beloved like Dragon Ball? And just the whole thing with, Master Roshi, and then the thing with Piccolo being the main villain, even though it didn't identify if it was King Piccolo or Piccolo Jr., and just Mai, for some reason, having a role. Like Kamehameha being bastardized. Chi-Chi. It was... Let me not go on a rant, but it was just fucking stupid. If you could live in any JSA originated world, the shows and games they're from, like DBZ, Fire Emblem, Tenchi Muyo, where would it be and why? Well, I wouldn't, because fuck the JSA. But if you want me to answer the question, yeah, Dragon Ball. Why not? As long as I stay out of the fights, as long as I stay out of the way of the fights, I think I'll be good. Dragon Ball, just say I did. What are your thoughts on Kana signing the WWE? I like it. I've been following Kana for years, so it's good to see that she's finally getting her chance to go with the big league in WWE. I will say this, though. I'm not a fan of the new name she got. Asuka, really? Now, granted, if I wanted to bring the Rockette on air right now, she'd probably want to kind of, rebut that. But, yeah, Asuka, though. I'm not a fan of that name. I'm really not. Why? I mean, I know they did that for the whole name rights and all that stuff, like they usually do. So that way, if Kana did ever leave, she can still be Kana outside WWE. But I mean, Kana's a big enough star from Japan that you could have worked a deal where it's like Kana, the name in WWE, can be distributed as long as Kana gets a certain cut from the from the Prophet, while still using the name Kana outside the WWE. You can do that. You did it with CM Punk in a way. So yeah, I'm not a fan with Asuka. I'm really not. And I know there's history behind why she probably picked the name, but yeah, Kana's a way better badass name in my opinion for her. Who is your dream starter Pokemon? I will always go with Squirtle. Yeah, I'll always go with Squirtle. I was, with the original three with Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and Charmander. Charmander ended up being the more epic one. Bulbasaur being meant to be the more, I don't know, reliable one, I guess. But Squirtle, I always was a fan of Squirtle. I love Blastoise. World Turtle's pretty cool. Squirtle's a G. The Squirtle Squad over everything. Squirtle Squad for life. So yeah, it'd be Squirtle. It has to be. I was a fan of water Pokemon, so that's probably why I was a fan of Misty when I was a kid. Because I just had a appreciation for water Pokemon than any other type. Now it seems that the JSA are headed to save Excel. Okay. And we saw Glamour match on an Impulse Mega event. Can we be seeing the Glamour division on both shows sometime in the near future? Never say never. And as a matter of fact, well, I was going to bring this up later when we get down to it, but um, there's going to be a lot of there's going to be a major overhaul with ACW after Animania 4, and I will leave it at that. P. Mysterio Pierce from LOH, by the way. Thoughts on LOH Call? You don't have to answer this, but it'll be nice to know opinions. I'll be honest, I haven't followed the recent episodes. I'm aware of them, but I just haven't been able to watch them. I will say this about your league though. I like the fact that it's still operated on Day of Reckoning too, because as everybody knows, any old school ACW fan knows, that's how ACW started with. ACW started with Day of Reckoning 2, the GameCube version game. So it's always a good throwback to see certain colleagues use Day of Reckoning 2 still. Day of Reckoning 2 probably had one of my favorite fighting systems. Like when you had a submission, it would tell you to pick which kind of action you want to take: reversal, lock in, or escape, or stamina, or something like that. So I'll always be a fan of Day of Reckoning 2. He had a fun story mode. The cost section was pretty impressive for its time. The gameplay was nice for what it was. Yeah, I mean, yes, outdated now, but it's still a great game to play if you want to play just to pass the time. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that from LOH, and I will try soon to catch up on LOH because I do watch a lot of CAW. Even if you think I don't, I do. Just keep that in mind. All right, Matthew William Higuera asked, "Who is your favorite anime? Who is your favorite Akemi Got Killed character, and what is your thoughts on the Akemi Got Killed in English version?" I understand a lot of people didn't like Akemi Got Killed at the very end, but and I'll be honest, I was starting to get annoyed with the. I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen it yet, but I didn't like the certain actions that were taken at the end myself. But I will say overall, I did enjoy the series. It's about time we got an anime somewhere like this where the things they did happened. Um, it's very interesting how it all occurred. So I'm a fan of the show. But my favorite character, if you followed me for a while, you have to know who my favorite character is. It's obviously S Death. It's obviously S Death. When we talk about villains, not even just in wrestling or in anime, but in general, she is a penultimate villain. And I think that's why, in a way, I liked her. I mean, granted, not because that's I guess that's my quote unquote wafu, I guess, but um, just everything about S Death, looking at her history and how she has grown to be who she is. It's like, yeah, that's evil, but you know where it's coming from. But she's an ultimate villain to me, so it's got to be S Death. It's got to be S Death, no question. Let's see. What do you think of the Bullet Club of CAW lately? It's cool, I mean, I guess it's cool. I guess it's cool. I mean, now granted, like I never got the fact that you had to use the Bullet Club from New Japan though. It's like, you know, but it's kind of like, But Bullet Club, you know, At least you got it to be your own kind of thing. You got it to be your own kind of thing. So I can't knock you for that. At least you're doing that. So at least you're trying to make it something. So I gotta give you kudos for that. Um, let's see, what is your thoughts about strong rumors of a Bullet Club JSA war? I wouldn't doubt it. The JSA are again. The JSA. Are not even. It's not. I can't even argue it. But the JSA are the most dominant faction. They're the most dominant group in CAW today. They have done in like 3 or 4 months what a lot of these groups haven't done in their whole entire career in CAW, and that includes some groups from ACW itself. So Bullet Club being involved in that, I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm gonna let you know right now, the JSA, um, they don't they don't run on tradition. They will do whatever it takes to get the job done. So just keep that in mind, Matt. And then one more question: what are your thoughts on Deanne's debut in UCCW? I wasn't surprised. You know, I picked the reason why I brought Deanne in is because not only because she's a type of person that stands out from the Glamrex division, obviously being a giant and all, but also because if you do watch Nanatsu no Taizai, her backstory is interesting. You know, the fact that she's always been a giant and that has always caused her some depression and distress because people look down at her, ironically, as a giant, and then she finally realizes that she's proud of who she is and doesn't care. But as much of a giant that she is, she's supposed to be this whole brooding and intimidating. She's really not. She's just a happy-go-lucky giant. That's all it is. So she brings a complex environment. She brings a complex style with what I was looking for. So not surprised that certain other colleagues are going to be using her too. Which is fine. You know, it's fine. So, good to see her. Good to see her there. Paul Heyman bringing her in. That's Paul Heyman. He's smart, so not surprised either. Um, let's see. Man, I got a lot of questions, and we've now passed an hour. Ooh boy! But I will try to answer every one though, because I haven't seen you in a while. Eric Ortiz Torres asked, "Any possibility that we'll see dead or alive characters in the near future in ACW?" Never say never. Again, there's going to be some major overhauls after Animania 4, so you might see a new talent from there too. Who knows? I won't promise anything, and it may not happen. But again, never say never. William Simeon, sorry, asked, "Hey, Hakeem, you said you were going to do a Rowdy Roddy Piper newscast special one time, and you was going to take in some Piper questions, and I know you got busy and didn't get around to it, so I got one for you, bro. What is your favorite Piper Spit moment of all time?" Yeah, I was really trying to get a Piper newscast done, and I just wasn't able to do it at the time. My schedule had piled up so much that I didn't even have time to do what I wanted to do during that period. So I regret not doing a newscast for Piper, because Piper was one of my favorite characters growing up, one of the best on the mic ever, one of the greatest heroes. I mean, greatest heels, villains of all time. Just he was a great dude, man. And I gotta make up for that eventually. I gotta do that one time at least. But um, my favorite Piper's Pit moment. Now everybody's gonna probably think I'll pick the one with Jimmy Snuka. Jimmy Snuka. That name sounds familiar. Jimmy Snuka. Huh? I never heard of him. But anyways, someone pick that alleged moment. Others will pick probably the one with Morton Downey Jr. at WrestleMania 5, I believe, or something. I think it was 5. Um, I think though, I'm gonna go a little bit more recent though. I think my favorite Piper's Pit moment though was the one he did with Steve Austin at WrestleMania 21. Because I've always wanted to know and see what would go down between a Piper and an Austin. And that was entertaining shit. And then Carlito coming in and instigating with Piper and Austin taking them out. Good stuff. Great stuff. So probably my favorite Piper Spit moment actually. Probably. Um, Charles Johnson had 2 questions. What are your thoughts on CA World Elite in MCWL? Gotta be honest, I haven't been able to keep up with MCWL as well. Again, I'm trying to get through all the colleagues that I've been not able to keep up with lately. MCWL obviously will be on that list. So just give me time to catch up on the show, Charles, and I will give you a more thorough opinion about that whole thing. And two, do you have a major match planned for Kaneki Man at Animania 4? If not, might I propose a dream match scenario of a certain individual in my league, if there's room on the card, of course. Um, we'll see. I don't know. Animania 4 is still about 2 months away. Less than 3 months away. So anything can happen. We'll see if Kaneki Man has a match plan or not. Um, Jason Caldwell asked. Well, he's got a lot of questions all put in one. All right, let me see if I can do this. What are your picks for Super Bowl 50? My picks are the Seattle Seahawks versus the Steelers, and the Seahawks winning 2 touchdowns. I agree with you on the Seahawks representing the NFC for next year's Super Bowl. I really can't agree with you with the Steelers on the AFC portion, though. Um, yeah, I can't. I can't agree with that one. The Steelers have a lot of promise, but if you saw that game with the Patriots on Thursday, their defense still needs work. They had many opportunities to stop the wide receiving end, and they fumbled it to the point where there was a fumble, and that's pretty much when the game ended. So they still got to work on their defense. For me, for Super Bowl 50, it's going to be the Seahawks, or honestly, if it's not the Seahawks, could be the Packers. I know they're going through their injury ordeal, but again, I've stated Aaron Rodgers is probably the best quarterback in the league right now, in my opinion. So in their offense, it's pretty beastly, from what I see. So either the Packers or the Seahawks will represent the NFC, and then for the AFC, I could be a fanboy and say my Broncos, but I'm being realistic here. The Broncos, they'll be in the playoffs, obviously, but I don't see them heading back to the Super Bowl. Nor should they deserve it after that Super Bowl from 2 years ago. Um, I've heard some say the Bengals too. I don't know about all that either, but I don't want to be the obvious one here, but it's looking like the Patriots might find a way back there. And I hate saying that, but I could possibly see the Patriots representing the AFC. It's very possible that we may get a Super Bowl 49 rematch next year. I'm gonna just say that right now. Let me see here. Who would win in a Survivor Series match between Rudo factions, the JSA, and the Blacklist? Ooh, that's a good question. If the JSA aren't the most dominating force in CAW today, then it would be the Blacklist, because the Blacklist are are talented individuals that are using their power for evil, led by Shazim Freya. You know, and it has extended to both leagues in DCA and CCL. Ooh, I don't know. I can go either way with the Blacklist or the JSA. Wow, and they got a lot of similarities too, if you think about it. I really don't know who would win that. I really don't know who would win that match. But honestly, if they were able to beat the holy crap out of each other and they go away forever, then we all win. What did you think of the CCL's the big one? I told Eddie this. I told Eddie this when I finally got the chance to finish it all. I told him it's probably his best mega event of all time. I meant it. Um, the big one in a way, and I don't mean, and I don't want to say this to put myself over because, and Eddie knows that I'm not putting myself over when I say this, but um, I got a lot of throwbacks from Animania 3 when I was watching the big one, in terms of production, in terms of how the matches were placed, in terms of how the pacing of the show went, in terms of how the whole hype inspection went for the big one. It gave me a lot of reminiscent thoughts of Animania 3 with that whole ordeal. But Eddie did a phenomenal job with the big one. Again, I think it's his best mega event of all time. Um, Credit goes to him, Champ, Brian Hager, Josh, D-Wall, who apparently was at CCL. I have not seen him since Revelation, so I need to find a way to reach him back. But yeah, Chris Edwards obviously doing ring announcing. Everyone that was a part of that whole ordeal, they deserve a round of applause. They did a great job with that event. Um, what classic Toonami show would you want to see be brought back, or what new show would you want to see on Toonami? Um, if you want to bring back a show, yeah, fuck it, bring back Cowboy Bebop. Bring that back. I could say Dragon Ball Z, but it's like, in a way, that's been kind of played out because they did Dragon Ball Z Kai, so, and then now you got Dragon Ball Super. So I don't want it to be an oversaturation of Dragon Ball Z. Um, you could always bring back Sailor Moon, and as a matter of fact, I would actually bring in Sailor Moon Crystal for Toonami as well. Another show that should be brought in. Um, let's see. Another show that should be brought in. I think you can bring in the Natsuno Taizai into Toonami. Now, obviously, that's gonna have to be a late airing of it, but the Natsuno Taizai, I would like to see it on Toonami. There's a lot of ways you can go with it. Honestly, personally, to me, if you want my honest opinion, I think Toonami should be extended in a way because let's be honest, Adult Swim, um, all they really have right now is King of the Hill, Bob's Burgers, Family Guy, Cleveland Show sometimes, American Dad, and that's about it in terms of good shows. All the other shows can be expendable. Honestly, what I would do is I think Adult Swim starts at like uh, 8 around my time Pacific. Have like 3 hours dedicated to your Adult Swim shows, and then once you reach like 11 or midnight, just show Toonami, and that should be a 5 day a week thing. So that's just my opinion. Kind of go back to the old formula that you did with Toonami. Um, can we see the other members of Night Raid from Akemi Got Killed, Akemi, Mine, and Leone in the Glamorous division sometime in the near future? Very possible. Very possible. Just because I brought in Revi and Juri Sonata doesn't mean I don't have any other new talents coming into the Glamorous division. There will be new talents coming into the Glamorous division. It's just a matter of time and placement and if it makes sense. That's basically all it is. It's got to make sense. It's got to be the right time. It's got to be the right moment. But there will be more talent coming in for the Glamorous division. I'll tell you that right now. And can we maybe see you do commentary on a future episode of COD Champions League Adrenaline and also fight the Blacklist? Um, I would not oppose to do commentary for a CCL show. If Eddie or Champ would want me to be a part of a show for commentary, I would not. I would totally be on board with it. I do enjoy CCL, so um, I would not turn down doing commentary with them. So that's up to them though. So that's up to them though. Whenever they want that done is up to them. But I would love to do it if I could. And fight the Blacklist. You know, I do cherish my life here, so I don't know if I want to really fight them. Um, let's see. Do you think people take CAW too seriously? And this is from Joshua Howell. He's got a couple of questions. Do you think people take CAW too seriously? Yes, they do. CAW has always been about fun and entertainment, but when people take it too seriously, that's when CAW starts to become that's when CAW starts to become bad. And that's kind of what CAW was for a while. I think after I took my hiatus in 2008, and I came back in 2000, and I came back in 2011 and saw what it was. I was like, is CAW now? Like you got egos running rampant. You got leagues not wanting to work with other leagues. You got people trying to sabotage and undercut other CAW leagues, and just overall misery when I was there in 2011, 2012. Not for me, but I just saw it, and that's probably why I took another hiatus after 2012. It was just obviously I had other things I had to do, but just to me, I just thought CAW was just in a kind of a bad place at that point, right then and there. So it's gotten better though. It's gotten better. The CAW All Stars is coming out. CAW All Stars should be basically what CAW is. I see a lot of colleagues working together now. So it's still got a lot of work to do, but CAW's getting better from those dark days. He also asked, "Is it fair for people to compare 9/11 to tragic events in Black history?" Fuck. Damn it. I really didn't want a September 11th question because that's kind of why I didn't say anything about September 11th on Friday because I didn't want to talk about it, and not because I didn't care or anything. I'm just sick of what it brings now. I'm just never forget, and conspiracy theories and people being cheap about what they believe with the 9/11 report from the government. Just I didn't want to deal with it this year. I didn't want to deal with it this year. I basically said all my thoughts about September 11th on a newscast before, so you got to go find that special edition of this newscast. That's what I've talked about with 9/11. But I didn't want to talk about it this year. I'm just I'm just moving past that point. You know what I mean? It's like this country has gone through a lot of tragedies before, and we've found a way to move past them. And I think it's about time we do that now for 9/11 as well. I mean, we don't forget about it, obviously, of course. You know, it was a horrible tragedy. It was a horrible event, whichever way you believe it to have it to be happen. But it was horrible regardless. People died, and people are still going through the effects of what happened in 9/11. It's people dying years later from radiation and cancer from those buildings collapsing. So it's still a hard thing, but at the same time, the world's still spinning. And, the world's still spinning. Um, at some point, we're gonna have to just move past it, and we all do eventually. So to deny otherwise is being disingenuous. But I just I'm just trying to get past that point where it's like I'm not trying to take let 9/11 be something that stops me. But to compare it to events in Black history, yes and no. It's like they're both tragedies within its own self, but you know it's just the whole it's just grasping at straws. It's like it's a poor deflection to use one event to deflect from another. And I'm not here to undercut the events of 9/11, but we shouldn't be undercutting the events that happened in America when it comes to blacks in this country. You know, and other horrible events. But I'll stop there because I really don't want to go on a rant about all this stuff. I'll just say that I see where it's coming from, but you know, come on, Um, Joshua also asked, "Do you look forward to seeing your Broncos lose to the Ravens this Sunday?" Oh man, football season has finally started because all the shit talking has begun. Yeah, yeah. I don't look forward to seeing my Broncos losing on Sunday because they will not be losing on Sunday. Um, I will say though for the Ravens though, it's gotta suck though that for the couple of years they've lost a domestic violence abuser and a alleged murderer. So I think I'll be okay. Pew 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 pew. Shots back. Uh, Canon Jackson Jr. Also supported you by the Ravens. Psh, caw caw caw. Okay, the Ravens. Yeah, yeah. I'm sure. I mean, what? I mean, what are the Baltimore Ravens gonna do if they lose? Are they gonna riot? Oh, too soon. Yeah, the shit talking has begun now. Tyrone Pierre asked a couple of questions, obviously. Who, in your opinion, would be considered Superstar of the Year and Breakout Star of the Year? Superstar of the Year, in my opinion, just going by what's going on right now, but in my opinion, um, I'd say Akuma. I would say Akuma. Because Akuma was somebody that came in 2008 at the and debuted and had a big impact, but then kind of fell by the wayside. Felt that the company wasn't supporting him, that they weren't giving him the certain perks that he deserved as a legend in the video game industry. So he started taking matters into his own hand and started just wreaking havoc until he became Excel champion, which happened at Victory this year. So he's finally the Excel champion, and he's been a dominant champion so far. He put Aang through hell, literally and figuratively. We have not heard from Aang still to this day. I have no whereabouts of Aang, so I don't know. But yeah, that'd be superstar of the year. Breakout star of the year. Breakout star of the year. Honestly, I think breakout star of the year goes to Aaron Yeager. I think it has to go to Aaron because, sorry, I was drinking water. Here's a guy who debuted at Animania 3 and won the Cruiserweight title from the longest reigning Cruiserweight champion, Joe Higashi. And then defended it and beat Joe again at the draft this year. And then made it to the finals of the Elite Tournament this year, losing barely, losing just a little barely to Sasuke Uchiha, who was then the Intercontinental Champion in his own right. And then Aaron Yeager fights Ryoma Edgerton to beat Ryoma at the Elite Tournament to advance, but also fight him at Genesis and Fusion until he lost the title to Goten at Apocalypse. So, and not only that, he's found success outside of ACW. He won the Young Lions Tournament Cup, the Young Lions Cup on NJCW, and will be taking on Shane Douglas at Xanadu for NJCW. So it's got to be Aaron. So if you want me to pick a breakout star of the year, it's got to be Aaron. I don't think that's really close right now. At least right now, it's not close. Since we are seeing Fire Emblem characters in the JSA, will we see the Nintendo World Order possibly making their ACW debut? Most likely not. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I've always said this: without No DQ Call, ACW wouldn't have existed. That's the only reason why ACW is the way it is today. I think I've said this before, but ACW originally was supposed to be an E-Fed. ACW was originally going to be an E-Fed. I would post weekly shows and updates on the website. That's all it was going to be. And then I found No DQ Call a little bit before that, and I got hooked into it. The Nintendo World Order, Freddy, Jason. I got hooked. Mr. Clean, honestly, Jack Sparrow. I got hooked on No DQ Call, and I said, no, I want to do this. I want to be able to do this virtual wrestling for what I want to do, and the rest is history. But yeah, I'm not. I don't see myself bringing the Nintendo World Order. It's a faction that worked in its time. It's a faction that worked in its time, but I don't think. I don't think No Call League, because there's been a lot of rehashes and all here and there. I don't think No Call League has done it to the success of No DQ Call. The closest one would be SCAW, but even then, I think No DQ Call still did the best version. You're probably not going to see Nintendo World Order in ACW. So just gonna let you know. Could we see a certain Beast returning to the hunt? Probably not as well. I think with Beast Boy, that was more of a one-time thing. That was just to kind of help ACW rally against the JSA. That was pretty much it. He's done though, so he's not going to be coming back anytime soon. And the reason why I even got rid of that Beast Boy is because I wanted to give Beast Boy a send-off in a way that he got his hands on Gohan after what happened at Animania 2 as a send-off in a way. But yeah, it's just because ACW was evolving into something where I didn't need the Teen Titans anymore. The Teen Titans debuted in ACW from day one. That was Robin, Cyborg, Beast Boy, Speedy, Aqualad was there for a while, Hotspot was there for a while, Raven and Starfire were there for a little short time, Terra obviously was there. And then when ACW was starting to really grow and move forward with the product, I just realized that I didn't need the Teen Titans really anymore. I didn't really need them anymore, so one by one I started kind of phasing them out slowly. So, so probably won't expect Beast Boy in a regular basis anymore. Probably for a special appearance here and there, but that was probably it. As of right now, what's your favorite anime? I kind of answered that. It was either Food Wars or Legend of Arslan. Either one. If you could book WrestleMania 32, how will you book it? And he also asked, picking back from question 5, who would you put as a champion, as a challenger, if the main event is a championship match? How would I book WrestleMania 32, going by how it stands right now with WWE? Okay. For one, no bullshit, no beating around the bush, no trying to be intricate, no trying to be complicated about it. Undertaker versus Sting is main eventing my WrestleMania 32 card. No buts, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. No excuses. Undertaker versus Sting. They may be old now and over their 50s. That's no excuse. You now have them both in your company. It's been a dream match. It's still a dream match to this day. What would happen? You've got to do that match. Especially there's rumors that The Undertaker may retire here in his home state of Texas at WrestleMania 32, the same year, the same weekend that he might be in the Hall of Fame. You've got to do that match. If they never do that match, the WWE deserves all the bad, business practices and declining ratings that they deserve right now. I'm being honest. How the hell do you not do Undertaker and Sting at a WrestleMania when you have them now both in the company? You should have done it this year at WrestleMania itself. But here's another chance. Here's another opportunity. Here is another opportunity to do it. Just do it. And I'll even take it one further. I want Sting to win the WWE World Heavyweight title at Night of Champions against Seth Rollins. Because Seth Rollins as champion, quite frankly, isn't working anymore. It just isn't. I'd have Sting win the title. And I would have Sting hold that title all the way till WrestleMania 32 and defend the title against The Undertaker. Taker's career versus Sting's title. Book it. And you're telling me that wouldn't draw and sell out the Cowboy Stadium to give it its biggest record yet? You're telling me Undertaker versus Sting for the WWE World Heavyweight title won't put asses in the seats? You can go suck a strap. But that's what I would do. And other matches I would put in there, currently standing, I'd do Cena versus Reigns. The passing of the torch, if you will. Because Reigns is going to be the guy. Stop. Let's not even kid ourselves. Reigns is going to be the guy. So you might as well have Cena pass the torch then and there. It can just be a passing the torch match, no title involved. Or maybe the U.S. title, Cena's going to win it back. I don't know. But I would also do Rollins versus Triple H. With that storyline, Rollins will turn face and maybe have the Shield help him beat Triple H or something. But I'm starting to believe the reports. I do see Rollins turning face though again. I don't know. This maybe is a crapshoot, but if you want to do it, I guess you might want to do Austin and Lesnar. I guess you can put that in to sell even more seats in the building. It'll be Austin's return to a WWE ring against Lesnar. I can do that. I can get with that. That would sell even more tickets too. And one more thing, I would also bring back the Money in the Bank match. Get rid of the Money in Bank pay-per-view. Just get rid of it, because it's just a regular pay-per-view with the Money in the Bank in it. That's all it is. Money in the Bank was designed for WrestleMania and always will be. So just put it at a WrestleMania. Have it open the show. Have it start off hot. You've got the talent for it. So, that would be kind of my WrestleMania 32 card as it stands. Sting and Taker for the title, main eventing. Triple H and Rollins, Austin and Lesnar, which is a crapshoot, but still. Cena, Reigns, and the Money in the Bank match brought back in. That sounds like a bitchin' card, to be honest with you. I'm just gonna be honest. That sounds like a good card. I'm just saying. Charles Bells asks, "What do you think is the best Glamour X match so far in ACW?" Now, I guess we can't count before the Glamour X division, because Glamour X division officially started at Animania 3. So I can't include the Hall of Fame match with Reiko and Sailor Moon, because that is one of my favorite matches from the division. Okay. I'll go with one that, maybe might be obvious, and another one that isn't so obvious. My first one was from Victory, and that was between Reiko and Cammy in that number one contenders match. I loved recording that match. I loved commentating it. I loved watching it a few times, and I still watch that match on the YouTube channel. I still do watch, that match, the opening match of Victory between Reiko and Cammy. It told a great story, had some good psychology. It had a purpose for why these two wanted that contendership so bad. It told a story. Like, if you can just if you mute the video and can still get a story from the match, then it did its job. So that's one of my favorite Glamour X matches. Another one, though, probably a little bit something you don't know. It would be a couple of XLs back between Asuka Kazama versus Ino Yamanaka for the Glamour X title. I enjoyed that match as well, because it showcased Asuka that she could finally be the one to end the reign of Ino, and she was really doing a great job. Yeah, Deanne came at the end and distracted her in a way, but for the most part, it was a relatively clean match. I'll put it that way. But also, what that did though with that match that I did is that it put Ino Yamanaka over as legit because for the time being, she needed somebody or something to retain that title. And again, yeah, Deanne distracted, but she didn't necessarily do any physical harm towards Asuka. And as a matter of fact, Asuka did a senton over the top rope to stop Deanne. So Asuka took the chance. She made the decision to go after Deanne and put her out, but not focusing on Ino. So Ino, in a way, relatively won that match clean. And that was what I was getting at. Ino has been getting away with the title in some sort of fashion, but on that night, she was able to prove that she is a person that can get the job done on her own if she has to. And it's a rarity. It's a rarity. That's why Ino as champion works. So, those are my two favorite Glamour X matches. A honorable mention, though, would obviously be Samus versus Revy in that hardcore match. And they're going to have another match at High Voltage in that KO match. But, yeah, Samus and Revy, I enjoyed doing that match because, you know, it was a hardcore match, but it's a hardcore match that told a story. And just because you can get a weapon and just bash on each other, that's not telling a story. You can tell a story doing a hardcore match. Ask Orton and Foley at Backlash in 2004. That told a phenomenal story. It was a hardcore match, but it was Orton's coming out party. It showed that Orton can be just as legit and just as badass as Foley. He's not just a pretty boy. He can get down and dirty with that whole type of match as well. And Foley put him over greatly. Foley doesn't get enough credit. Foley does not get enough credit in terms of how many people he has put over and the programs he's put over in his entire career. He doesn't get enough credit for that. You know, he put over Vader as a badass, even especially when he broke Jack's nose or Foley's nose in WCW in the early 90s. He put over Mikey Ripwreck in a way where he became a beloved character in ECW. He put over Triple H, despite what Triple H wants to make you to think. Without Foley, Triple H probably wouldn't be who he is today. He put over The Rock tremendously, and in a way, The Rock reciprocated that put over back towards his career and rejuvenated his career. He made Undertaker legit. He made Undertaker legit in that program in 1996 when he was Mankind. The match that he had with the teaming he did with Kane and the match that he did with Kane in a way put him over. He got Al Snow over teaming up together. Almost said head cheese, but that's Snow and Blackman. And then he put over Orton here. He put over Edge to the top in '06. Foley doesn't get enough credit for that. One of the integral parts of the Attitude Era and the WWE in general. How do you feel about Kana joining NXT as Asuka? Like I just said earlier, I'm not a fan of the name. I think you could have kept Kana. I think Kana's a bigger presence, is a badass name for her. It describes her. It'll bring more of a mainstream appeal to her. Asuka, it's kind of a generic Japanese lady's name. Kana's better. Let's put it that way. Have you ever had to deal with copyrights before for interest themes? Yes, I did. That's how my old channel got taken down. That's why, in a way, I still hold a grudge with Toei Animation and, in a way, WWE, because it was Toei Animation, actually, primarily, that got my old channel taken down. I didn't get any notice. I didn't get a letter saying that your channel's being taken down by tomorrow or by a certain time date. So I could have at least gotten some of the videos from that channel that I could have saved for that. But yeah, so I still hold a grudge with Toei Animation. Not a grudge, but just I don't have a favorable opinion with Toei Animation. I understand why they did what they did, but it's like that's some shady shit. Yes, I had to deal with it basically. Has Kevin Owens not been booked right since he debuted on the main roster? He was booked right in the beginning. He beat Cena clean, which is what needed to happen. But what you needed to do afterwards was have him keep beating Cena. Owens should have been the guy that Cena just could not beat. Like Cena's kryptonite, if you will. And it wasn't going to devalue Cena. It wasn't going to make Cena's reactions become lower or Cena's overness become lower. It's John Cena. John Cena will still be John Cena. That means he'll still be over to a certain extent. By Kevin Owens being able to defeat... Hell, Triple H did it for Batista in 2005. Batista beat Triple H 3 consecutive pay-per-views. I think it was WrestleMania 21, Backlash, and then I think it was either Bad Blood or Vengeance. Triple H put over Batista 3 times because Triple H knew that Batista was the real deal. And he didn't lose any overness for that. He didn't lose any appeal because of that. But yet Cena just can't do it. Cena just can't do that for someone like Kevin Owens. Someone that could really be one of your best heels, maybe the heel of your next decade. But you just couldn't let Cena, or Cena just couldn't let himself be the better person, do what was best for business, be a good businessman, and have Owens go over him 3 times: Elimination Chamber, Money in the Bank, Elimination Chamber, Battleground, and Money in the Bank, which would have gotten Owens over. That way would have gotten Cena over. So when Cena finally does beat Owens, it would make sense, and that way it would make Cena more over than he usually was. But no, simple business, simple status quo. Cena just couldn't do it because he's a great politician. I'm sure, and I'm hoping some of you people finally realize that. All you Cena ass kissers and you wrestling hipsters always defending Cena just because everybody else is against Cena, so I want to be the one to defend him. Like, pull your head out your ass. You tell me how many people John Cena has put over in the past, I don't know, 5 years? Who has Cena really put over? Don't say CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. They had a fan base before coming to the WWE. So they don't count. Who did Cena really put over? Exactly. Thank you. Alright, and let's see, Brian Douglas. Man, I still got questions here. This is going to be a 2 hour appeal, huh? Alright. Let's see, what are your thoughts on the final season of TWA Battlefront, the final TWA CPV End of Days? It's sad, man. It's just, I found TWA late last year, and I've enjoyed it. Now they're done after this year, and I don't blame them for their reasons, but TWA was one of those. In a way, TWA reminds me of SCAW. Same premise, but they're different in their own ways. Just, I enjoy TWA very much, and it's just sad to see it finally go away. But hopefully, maybe someday they have an itch to bring it back and continue where they left off. I hope they do. Just my opinion. So, you know, it's a damn shame. But I did enjoy the final season, and I did enjoy End of Days. So, any chance we'll see Michiko Melandro in ACW? I'm just assuming you're talking about Michiko from that series, Michiko and that little girl on Toonami. Um, First of all, I haven't really watched the show yet. I'm not saying I won't watch the show. I just haven't got the chance to really take it in all in. But again, never say never, right? Never say never. Again, besides, I'm trying to expand the Glamour division by next year. So, again, never say never. What are your thoughts on Aqua Teen Hunger Force finally coming to an end? Yeah, an end of an era. Aqua Teen's been there for like 14, almost 15 years on Adult Swim, and now it's over. And in a way though, I'm glad it's over though, because it's long overstayed its welcome. It was just pretty much there to get a check, or there just to do whatever. It wasn't the same Aqua Teen from the beginning, so it was probably time to end it. But at least it had a great run. Probably one of the most underrated shows of underrated animated shows in the last decade. Um, yeah, man, an end of an era on Adult Swim. Because I've been watching Adult Swim since like 2001, when it really first began, and it was Aqua Teen Hunger Force and home movies and the Oblongs and all that stuff. So yeah, it's definitely an end of an era. So um, let's see. What do you think will be the highest selling game for the PS4 and Xbox One come the end of the year? Uh, Probably the Halo collection or something for the Xbox at least, and the PS4. Uh, PS4. I may be wrong, but maybe Madden. Maybe Madden. I'll probably be wrong, but I'll just go with Madden. And what exactly is the Nintendo XY, and do you know any games of it that'll be coming out of it as of now? I actually don't know what the XY is all about, so I'm just as confused as you are, so I don't know anything about it. I heard it's going to be a new console, but no Nintendo. I have no idea what that console is going to be or look like, or how it will affect the industry. But we'll have to see. I guess we'll find out. Um, let's see. With the JSA running rampant, this is from John Mercer. From the JSA running rampant, are you going to put in stables from other Kov feds to stop them. Ryoko was part of the Bullet Club over at UCCW. I know. I know. You guys do realize that this storyline is non-canon, right? And I've had to say this now for weeks now. Like, I'm kind of kayfabing. I'm kind of kayfabing with all you guys, but you guys do know I have my storyline set here, right? You guys do know that, right? So, most likely no. Just gonna put that out there. Um, let's see. Will Ogilvy? I'm sorry if I said that wrong, but is there any leagues besides UCCW who will take in original characters such as my cause from my game? Um, yeah, I would say CCL, but they're on their final season, so there's really no point. You can try DCA. You can try COH. Um, you can try some of the Rambo Network leagues like SWF or URWL, RPW. Just look around. Just look around certain of the call leagues that can kind of help you out. But you need to understand that you're not going to always get what you want. You're going to have to comply with what the league is expecting from you. Just going to give you that warning. Okay, I'm almost done here. John Blackos, are you ready for the Dante Styles match at the next DCA Takedown? Hell yeah, I am. And I'll tell you this right now, Dante Styles. I'm not a wrestler. Well, I kind of am. But I'm not a wrestler like you. But I am a man. Okay, you've been in here. Ever since I've been here in DCA, I've had a disgust for you. After what you did to Amber Stevens on Takedown 40, I'm surprised she's able to still walk. And now her whole demeanor has changed. And that's because of you. You've made Zack Stone become crazy. You've made Amber Stevens look demented. That's because of you. And now you have the nerve. You assaulted my friend Josh McLeod. You've insulted D-Wall even though he's not here to defend himself. Now you're coming after me. And that's fine. I've had people come after me for years. But at the end of the day, I'm a man. At the next takedown, I may get my ass kicked. I may not be able to get up. You may end my livelihood in a way. But I'm gonna go down knowing that I was able to fight you. I'm gonna go down knowing that I was able to at least get my hits in. To let you know that I'm not some little bitch like you that attacks people from behind and attacks defenseless people because you're a little boy. That's what little boys do when they don't get their way. They throw temper tantrums thinking that their parents are going to give them what they want. And unfortunately in this country that's what happens. Parents are bitches and give their spoiled kids everything. But no. I'm about to be your father, boy. Come to this next upcoming takedown. I'm gonna give you an ass whooping. It ain't gonna be no fucking wrestling match. I'm gonna beat you down. Cause we from the same cloth, man. You just happen to be a wrestler and I just happen to be a commentator. But we're from the same cloth. Same streets. Alright? I never banged, never did hard drugs, didn't get to any of that activity, thank goodness. I was close, but I never did. That don't mean I can't fight though. That don't mean I won't fucking snake your ass though. That don't mean you ain't gonna catch my ones. I'm gonna beat your ass, Dante. For as much time as I can be able to be given to, I'm gonna beat your ass. For everybody that you insulted, attacked, and diminished, I'm gonna beat you up, man. So you can wear your stupid ass cornflake colored mohawk all you want. Trying to act like LeVar Burton from Reading Rainbow all you want. At the end of the day, you and me, it was a long time coming. We knew we were going to be able to get in a fight. And it's going to happen at takedown. I'm going to hurt you. Just please don't bitch and have a temper tantrum when I kick your ass. That's all I ask. Alright. What do you think of Xavier Woods playing the Final Fantasy VII Victory theme on Raw? Awesome. Like I said, Xavier Woods very entertaining on Raw on Monday. Do you think there will be a second season of Akemi Got Killed that follows the manga? I don't know. Again, I'm not going to do any spoilers, but with the way it ended, would a second season really make sense? Maybe a sequel, but I don't know, man. You might have to do a prequel first, then do the sequel. But I don't know. Where did you get that new microphone? Oh, I got it at Walmart. It was about $30, $35, but it's more clearer. It's got more surround sound. It blocks out any noise from the background. I needed to get a new microphone. It was a long time coming. I needed to get one. I really desperately needed one. Um, would you like to have an otaku girlfriend? What the fuck? Um, listen, like I said, I'm not an otaku, and I'm definitely not a weeaboo. I'm just a person that happens to enjoy anime and respect what it brings to a person. I'm a general anime fan. I'm not a. I'm not a beginner. I'm not a novice or anything. I know my shit, but I don't narcissistically put it in everybody's faces. I'm not an asshole like that. I'm not a. Again, I'm not a weeaboo or an otaku even. But if I had a girl that happened to be an otaku, meaning if I had a girlfriend that was more into anime than I am, I wouldn't be tripping because there would be more things in her that I would appreciate than just her loving anime more than me. I mean, so I can deal with that. Besides, at least we would both know what we're talking about. So, um, did you watch SMF back in the old days of CW? Absolutely, I did. I did watch Bob Ross and the whole gang back with SMF. I was just like a lot of you guys. I was a Kaw fan myself. Even when I was doing ACW in the beginning, I was still a Kaw fan, and even to this day, I'm still a Kaw fan because I love Kaw, and I find every way that I can possible to give back to Kaw. Because it's been a very relaxing experience for me in more ways than one than you probably will ever know. But I love Kaw, so I was watching Slam and Jam and No DQ Kaw, SCAW when it was beginning. I think SCAW began a year after I began, or maybe around the same time period though. Lone Star and I, we started around the same period, so we're kind of the last of the Mohegans of what that era represented. But um, I do enjoy SMF. It's a show that doesn't take itself seriously, but it's entertaining at the same time, and that's all. And that's what Kaw should be at the end of the day, fun. Um, let's see. Do you watch God Eater? No, I do not, and I'm not saying that I won't, but I have not seen God Eater. I've not watched God Eater, but maybe one day I'll get around to it. I don't know. No promises. All right, last one from Quincy Brown. Last one. All right. Whew. How long will the JSA cancer continue, and can it be stopped? Well, I will say this: all empires eventually fall. The Roman Empire fell. The Ottoman Empire fell. You know, Germany in the 40s and 50s with the Nazis, they fell eventually. The the Japanese Empire fell during that time as well. The Soviet Union collapsed. Some people will say that America is heading towards that way as well. But empires have fallen in history. So the JSA, which has become an empire now, they'll eventually fall. The question that you should be asking is when, and I don't know. We're close to Animania 4 here in December, and the JSA are still as dominant as they've been since they formed. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. What are your thoughts on Tenchi's involvement in the triple threat match for the Excel Championship at High Voltage? Yeah, not good. Because this is Tenchi's way of now expanding the JSA onto Excel. That's clearly what's happening here. He made offers to, I believe he made an offer to Edward Elric this past episode of Excel. We didn't really get to hear the offer, but it's pretty obvious where that was going. And they stood next to each other by the end of the show. He made the same offer to Akuma last week. So he has an invested interest in this match. I don't know who's going to win. I don't know if Akuma retains or we have a new champion, either from Elric or Haru, but something's going to happen. And I don't particularly like it. And finally, did you see the movie Straight Outta Compton? Yes, I did. Good movie. I heard certain people had problems with the depictions and stuff. Certain people weren't included. Certain facts were kept out, I guess. But overall, I enjoyed the movie. It was good to see the NWA through the eyes of those that were actually there. So, and I heard there was going to be a sequel to that, chronicling Death Row Records, which I am very much looking forward to because as a kid, I grew up on A Tribe Called Quest. I grew up on Nas. I grew up on Too Short. Um, I grew up with those type of things. I grew up with a lot of underground hip hop, if you will, back then. But I'm from the West Coast. I'm from California, so I also grew up with Death Row Records. That means I grew up with Snoop, Dr. Dre, Tupac, The Dog Pound, with Daz and Corrupt, DJ Quick, Lady of Rage. I grew up with all of them. Suge even. I grew up with the Death Row Records, and they have a story that needs to be told on the movie. Hopefully there is. Hopefully there is no revisionist history, if you will. So, well, there you go. That was a long Q&A session. But thank you everybody who sent me questions to this newscast. I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys. It was fun to do another newscast here. I'll probably see you guys in the next 3 months for another newscast. But I do enjoy you guys for watching, or not watching, but listening to this newscast here tonight. Um, Make sure you guys check out DCA Sacred Ambitions, which will be coming up, I believe, on Sunday, which is going to be probably tonight. And also look out for High Voltage, which will be in 2 weeks, September 25th. And then we're on the road to the Royale Rumble, which leads into Animania 4 on December 18th, scheduled in Miami, Florida, at the Sun Life Stadium. It's going to be a bumpy ride. And also, we are inching close to our 10-year anniversary in ACW. It's been 10 years. Can you believe that? Hiatuses excluded and everything, but it's going to be 10 years with ACW. It's been a ride, man. It's really been a ride. It's a good way to end it. So, we're getting close to 10 years there, and I will be doing a lot of things specifically for that anniversary next year, so be on the lookout for that. But other than that, thank you all for joining me for this newscast once again. I'll see you when I see you, and send me more of your questions and comments when I do asked for them. So, until then, this is Hakeem Johnson telling all of you, as always, to stay cool. Stay cool. See you guys later.